What's up, guys? We're back with another Cataclysm video, and today we're going to take a look at prospecting. One of the more fun ones, usually. Earlier, not fun, maybe. You're going to click a lot of buttons, but it can be very profitable. So obviously, for prospecting, there are 3 ores in Cataclysm that you can prospect. You have Elementium, which is sort of the mid-range, essentially. Serenite, Obsidium is the slightly cheaper with slightly lower yields, similar to Cobalt, and then you also have Pyrite ore, which is similar to Titanium ore, essentially from Wrath. There's no epic gems yet, but Pyrite ore does give you quite a bit more in terms of raw gems, rare gems in particular, but it's also a lot more expensive. Generally speaking, we want to maximize the value of all of the gems we get. And the way you do that is a little different. It's a little different in this expansion, but it's very, very important to maximize the value of your gems and to get your ore cheaply. I think Elementium ore is most likely going to be the best bet for profit on your realm, but I have made a calculator that we're going to take a look at that you can fill in prices on your realm to get an idea of what is actually the best option. I prefer Elementium in general if I can, because you get more gems per prospect, so you can get more value out onto the auction house for less time spent, which is really, really good. Now, obviously, when you prospect, you get the uncommon gems and you get the rare gems. Uncommon gems, generally speaking, you get a lot of them, and you need to get rid of them. Obviously, you can always cut them into the uncommon cut gems. Usually the normal versions don't sell for that much outside of the red ones, but some of them can sell nice, and they can also proc into the perfect versions, which do have more stats and sell pretty well. But as we can see here, compared to the value of the raw gems in some cases, it's not showing a profit for most of these. For the rare gem recipes, you can only cut them if you have the recipes, and all of the recipes are going to set you back 3 illustrious jewel crafters tokens. You can see I skipped day 1, so I bought the first recipe today. Every 3 days you can get a new recipe. Now, there are some other things you can do with the gems, of course, the uncommon gems. You can craft your fiery prism once a day. This is a little bit expensive, and that's because of some of the other use cases for the uncommon gems, but this can be profitable. I'm not sure exactly how many gems you get on average, but at current prices, you would have to get red gems for this to give you value, or a lot of them. Now, the other thing you can do is if you have alchemy, particularly transmutation, because of the meta gems. So the meta gems, you can transmute 2 Shadow Spirit diamonds by taking 3 of each color of the uncommon gems. And with Transmutation Master, you get a little bit of extra on top. That is pretty much the only way to get Shadow Spirit diamonds. That was very profitable, like yesterday. It was good. Today, it's not so much. Prices have gone down, and prices have sort of kept really high on the uncommon gems. And that's because they're used to level jewel crafting. Loads of people are leveling jewel crafting. I think people are even doing multiple jewel crafters, that they can get more recipes. If you have 2 jewel crafters, then you can have 2 recipes every 3 days instead of just 1. So there are the rings that people are crafting, particularly if you look down here, all of the leveling guides are telling you to craft Tessonite and Nightstone chokers, which means that Tessonite and Nightstone are 2 of the most expensive uncommon gems. Now, obviously, there are 4 recipes here, so you can turn these, you can turn your gems here into items to just disenchant. So if Jasper is cheap, Jasper is a little bit expensive today because it was used in the daily on my realm. But if you take Allicite, 2 Allicites, you can turn that, and 1 jeweler setting, you can turn that into something that disenchants for 15 gold, and you can even proc, these can proc into rares, which can have higher value enchanting materials from them. So that is one way to get rid of some of your gems, because that is very, very important. And then obviously right now when people are leveling, I would just sell the raw Hessonite and Nightstone, because that is just very, very valuable. Now, as I said earlier, you need to make sure you're making a profit when you buy, which is where my sheet comes in. I've slightly adapted my old Wrath sheet. There is some issues with the API that I haven't had time to look into, so this is all manual pricing. You have to just write in your prices. For your realm, write in the price here for the ores. Then just set in a value for the gems. You can use the value of the uncut gems on the auction house. You can use the value of the best cut you have. Obviously, that's going to drive a huge amount of value, particularly for the rare gems, because most of the cuts are more expensive than what you're seeing here. But as we can see right now on my realm, you're making about 50% profit on both obsidian and elementium, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. You can also see that the difference in price is fairly small right now, the difference in value. And that's because a lot of these gems are very expensive. You have 30 gold nightstones, you have 38 gold carnelians right now. So the uncommon gems are very expensive, and a lot of the rare gems are quite cheap. What we've seen in the past in Wrath and TBC is that it takes a little while for the rare gem market to really get going. People don't slam rare gems into their previous gear. Once raids rolls around, people are going to start buying a lot more of the rare gems. We'll have to see how that rolls around. But yeah, I think that you would want at least 30% profit here before you start doing any large volume crafting, and the higher the better. And the more recipes you have here, the better you're going to be able to offload them. But yeah, there are some recipes right now. Like when I was checking earlier, you had like some of the orange gems were selling for 400 gold. So if you have the right recipe, then you're going to be absolutely rolling in it. We can see if it's good right now. Obviously, you also have the option to just take 3 uncommon gems and some herbs, and you can turn those into an Ember Topaz or an Inferno Ruby. Right now with Ember Topaz, they're so cheap anyway. We can see here that there's multiple recipes here at 250, 300, 400 gold that people are buying, at least according to TSM. There's some reasonable sale data on multiple of these. So if you have the right one, then you're gonna looking at some very nice gold. And we'll see in like a couple of days, people are gonna unlock recipe number 2, which is gonna drive down prices. I can see here the Brilliant Inferno Ruby is another 165 over the Inferno Ruby at 128, so you're making 30 gold on top. And what I've done yesterday was I bought a bunch of carnelian and I transmuted it into the Inferno Ruby to craft, which is also something you can do with gems. That's also one way you can use up your gems, your lower level uncommons. So what you could do, for instance, is if you've done a lot of prospecting stash, you can turn jaspers and alicites into pendants and rings to disenchant. You can sell the hessonite and nightstones raw. You can turn the carnelians into Inferno Rubies through the transmute. And then you're stuck with the Sephirites, which I don't know what you do with them. Try to sell them as solids, or I'll just throw them away, I guess. They're not blues are generally one of the least valuable gems, so there is that. But yeah, as we can see now, it's pretty good, and this is one of the markets where I think it's going to become more profitable. Because right now, people are focused on gearing, getting their professions leveled up, doing their pre-biz farms, doing reputation. Heroics are not hard, so there's no real drive to like put the best gems you can into your gear. There's no value in doing that. So only the sweatiest people are bothering with the higher level gems. But once raids rolls around, that generally turns around, and we can see that that often drives a lot of demand for gems. That's what happened in Wrath, so we'll see what happens this time. Either way, I think the prospecting is going to be pretty good going forward.